Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. I'm the Monk, and of course today we are in Empire of Sin once again. Today's video is a little bit differently. I haven't covered it before. Today we are going to be covering the top gangsters in the game, some secret perks or talents that actually exist within this game. I'm going to be talking to you through them, and hopefully going to be spreading some knowledge. If you do learn anything today, or if you find this video entertaining, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I say this only because it's reached 93% of all viewers aren't currently subscribed, and you know, hitting that button, it really does help out the channel absolutely massively. Anyway, so the first gangster that I wanted to talk to you about is actually Bernie Barnes. Now he starts up quite high in the tier list of gangsters. Now again, this guide or these gangsters that I'm going to be talking about, they are end game gangsters, and this first one, Bernie Barnes, he is the first possible one that you can actually get with these perks or talents that I'm talking about. There we go, Bernie Barnes. Now he's got 94 marksman. He's actually pretty good on the marksman. His health really isn't good, but his initiative isn't bad at 82. That's the stats that I'd be looking at for this. For £31,000, he is a good investment, if you ask me. Now he has a few standard perks like Brawny, for instance. That's a pretty good one. Coward isn't good, and the others are a bit meh. But what we're actually looking at is right at the bottom here. You see this? It says brewery talents. Now these brewery talents, now they're very rare. There's only 2 characters in the entire game with them. And people thought beforehand that these talents only existed if, for instance, I was to make Bernie Barnes a lieutenant. That's not true. If you learn these perks, these talents, they are always active. Now, this gangster right here, he has them for the brewery. There is 2 for every single racket in the game. I believe that's right. Anyway, we're going to go over the ones that there are. If we have a little look-see, we have got nothing to see here, which is a -1% raid chance, which is pretty good. We have pile them high, which is an extra level for storage. A builder, which is a brewery upgrade, -5% on the cost of that. We have an extra level to security on keep them out, and of course we got master brewer, and that is production rate up 5%. Now this is why Bernie Barnes is such an important character. As we all know right now, the whiskey rush is where it's all about. It's what it's all about. So having more whiskey is going to be good for us, and it's going to be good for everyone else. Now the very next gangster we need to talk about is someone that I like a lot. I use them in most of my playthroughs, and that is Bruno. Now Bruno has 144 HP, which is massive. His initiate isn't great. His melee is 98, so if you run him as a melee character, he's pretty good. Personally, I normally give him a shotgun. He's got marksman of 80. It's pretty good. His standard perks, the ones, I mean, nervous reflexes isn't great. Brawny again is pretty good. And the others, like for instance boxing, I guess that is pretty good. But again, those stats are kind of meh. Again, he only costs 31,000, however, 2 higher. But again, it's the hotel talents that really work out well to actually have a look and get in. Now, the hotel talents in particular, I think, are great. You've got Master Hoteler, which is the speakeasy earnings with a synergy bonus. All of these you have to have the hotel, or these won't work. But you get 5% on speakeasy. You get a 5% on racket earnings, which is the finer customer. That's a great one to get. You get a 2% bonus on casino earnings. Now, casinos are probably the best racket in the game if you want to go, you know, without the whiskey. You also get a 2% bonus on brothel earnings and a 2% on speakeasy. So these are really, really good to get. I think the hotel ones are probably the best ones to get. They're the financial ones that will boost that stuff. Now, the brewery one's great for production. Like we said, it will produce us 5% more whiskey. Of course, if you get a second brewer, that's 10% more whiskey. Now, the only problem with this is that these stats or these perks, they do take time to learn. So if you are going for the long game, if you are going for the slow play, then get as many of these gangsters as you can. The perks do stack, and there are some awesome ones to kind of pick from. Now the next one is Henry Adams. Now I would like to remind you guys that I am actually covering every single gangster with these secret perks talents. None of the other gangsters actually have them. Henry Adams costs 77,000. It's huge, plus a 10% cut of your profits. Again, that is massive. He's a character that I've never really hired. His marksman is amazing. Initiate is pretty good. Let down on health quite a bit, and his perks again aren't necessarily that great. However, he is another hotel talent. Now, I've gone over these ones before. They're exactly the same with the same percentages as Bruno's as well. But my point is they do stack. So if you was to get, for instance, Master Hoteler, speakeasy earnings with a synergy, as in with the hotel in the neighborhood, you get a 5% bonus. So that will stack up to 10% bonus. His marksman, however, at 119, that is pretty good. His initiate probably means he's going to get one of the first goes in every fight as well. So I guess you could argue him being worthwhile. However, for me, his health just, it really doesn't cut it. Next up, we have Marco. Now, Marco cost 600 notoriety as well. However, he has slightly better health. He also costs 70,000. He has 95 marksman, which is pretty good. He has a pretty good melee. I believe, without double checking, he has the best initiate in the entire game, meaning he is almost guaranteed to go first in every single battle. Obviously, your boss probably has a better stat there, but his initiate is amazing. So, you know, he's one of the better options, that's for sure. I was kind of talking as we were going over his perks, but he does have thick skin, which is great perk to have. He also has cruel. You can see that as good or bad, but unfortunately he is lumbered with afraid, which isn't so good. He is another brewery talent though, so you could have one or the other, or again you could stack this. I would personally stack it myself. Brewery production, at least hit that one first. And then you've got a 10%, a whopping 10% production rate. That's massive. So you will produce a lot more whiskey. If you're doing the whiskey rush, Marco and Barney Burns really could be the way to go there. Next up, we have One Sky. Now, he doesn't have great health. His marksmanship isn't particularly great either. His initiate is 80. Really, this guy I don't necessarily like. I really don't use him too much. He does have some interesting stats. He's good with the machine gun trainer. Obviously, that's been given to him through his perks line. He's immovable, which is also really good. It resists knockback. He's also brave. But he is also a speakeasy talent. So he can up your speakeasies, which is pretty good. There is Know Everyone's Name, which is an extra draw, means more people will come to you. You've got Keep It on the QT, which is Speakeasy Deflect, is upgrade cost of that is -5%, so it saves you a little bit of money. I really don't think that's worth it. However, you've also got the Speakeasy raid chance of the -5%. Again, I'm not sure that's worth it. Now, the best one, however, is My Word is Good, which means all gangsters cost a 5% less. So let's say you're hiring a gangster worth 10 grand. Well, he's now only worth 8 grand. However, for me, this is kind of counterproductive. By the time you've probably hired One Sky, you probably have all your gangsters, therefore you really don't need this perk. However, this perk is a really interesting one, and I just wish there was a gangster that had this set that was lower down. You could get kind of early game to really make the most of that perk. It's good, but unfortunately it's kind of worthless. The last one, of course, is the beer magnet, which is the speakeasy earnings increase 5%, which is pretty good. But yeah, the best one out of all of them is My Word is Good, because it reduces the cost by 5%. It's just a shame that it's kind of worthless. I mean, maybe it's a flip of a coin. You know, you do have that chance to unlock gangsters early, so we could always be looking at that. Anyway, next up we have Williams. Now, this one is a very interesting character with 175 health. She's one of the only gangsters left in the game with that kind of health. She has a 99 marksmanship as well, which again is pretty good. The initiate isn't great, but the melee is okay. Leadership is also really good at 106 there. Doesn't really have any bad perks to look at. You know, she has immovable, which is pretty good. She has calm again. All this stuff is pretty good, pretty standard. She's a very good gangster. She's worth 66,000 to actually, you know, grab her up in. But she is a brothel talent, which is quite interesting. So again, you can increase your draw on the brothel on the first one, and then you have brothel upkeep minus 5%. You have brothel raid chance minus 5%. Again, I really don't see them being worthwhile. You have the brothel overall upgrade of anything minus 5%, and then you've got the brothel earnings plus 5%. So if you're going to go big brothel, or if you're going to go big casino, I would really think about what it is you want to do within your game. Now, you could blanket casinos, you could blanket brothels, or you could blanket speakeasies, or you could do the Whiskey Russ. It really depends how you want to play the game, but there's definitely a gangster here that will suit your play style and, of course, increase your earnings if you go double or nothing kind of thing. You know, if you go all out for one of these things, that's when that 5-10%, if you stack it, is really going to make the difference. This is turning into a very long video, but up next we do have Natalie. Now, she is 63,000 up front. I do actually quite like her. 120 health, 80 initiate, 99 marksmanship. I do think she is a very good buy. However, I do have a problem with her having Afraid. When they freak out in a battle, it really sucks, but thick skin is, I guess, makes up for it a little bit. Now, however, Natalie is a casino talent, which is pretty cool. Every time I say this, I'm thinking of bloody fairies, which is quite funny. Oh, it's a fairy talent. Anyway, where was we? So the very first one that you can get, again, remember these do take a lot of time to actually learn. So it's going to take you a very long time to learn all of them. But you have got 5% on casino draw, which is quite good. You've got the extra level of security. You have the casino upgrade cost, which is minus 5% there. And you have the casino raid chance, minus 1%. I really wouldn't use that. And then you've got the casino income plus 5%. Again, out of all of those ones, that is the one that I would focus on if you're going to get her and if you're getting her for this reason. Now, of course, she does cost 165 notoriety. It is going to be an end game kind of deal, but it is kind of for all of these gangsters anyway. Finally, we're on to the cleaner for 66,000. He has 90 health, which really, honestly, for the type of gangster he is, one of the last gangsters in the game, I just don't think he's worth the money right now. I think he needs a rework, honestly. The marksman is pretty good, however. The initiate is okay as well. He does have some pretty interesting perks, like, for instance, Cruel, Dismembership, which is good for the intimidation. The best perk he has, however, is the Hair Trigger. Hair Trigger is amazing. He has a 90% chance to activate Hair Trigger. That's massive. This perk right here is what makes him good. Anyway, he is another brothel. And again, like I said, these perks will stack with the other guys as well. So, you know, if you're going to go brothel, then I would probably get them both and go for the increased cash of 5%, making that into the 10. And lastly, that brings us to R, again only on 90 health, but it has 107 marksmanship, which is where it is at there. The 80 initiate is pretty good too. Has some very interesting perks as well. Mostly the hair trigger for 100% chance to activate, and the thick skin work out really good too. And this one is a casino talent. So again, if you're going to go casino, for instance, if you was going to pick Daniel Jackson, I would then pick R and the other one as well and pump that income up. If you do that, you're going to be making a lot more income. And that's the thing. That's what you want. You want more money in this game, and casinos for me are the way to go. Now, if you was to get, if you was going to play for the casino route, I would strongly think about using Daniel Jackson. Now, he has 20% buff to all casino earnings. And of course, if you was to pair him with R, you can see you end up with 30% plus there. But that about wraps up this video, guys. Again, if you have enjoyed this video or if you've learned anything, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out absolutely massively. And of course, comment your thoughts down below, of what you think of this video, and maybe if you've learned anything. Because for me, when I very first started playing this game, I honestly thought that I had to apply these gangsters behind a desk as a lieutenant. As it turns out, that isn't the case. And, these perks are always active. So they're definitely worth picking up if you can get them in your game. If you can get them early, even better. That way you're going to get more money for a lot longer, you know what I mean? Obviously, you're probably going to unlock these, unfortunately, late game, but maybe you get a lucky roll and unlock one early game. I would definitely think about picking them up and making those perks a priority. But guys, that's it from me. I've been the Monk, we've been the Critically Clueless, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Catch you later.